Hello, hello.
All right. How you doing? How you doing,
Hi,
Joy? I'm finally,
good.
I'm trying to get this together. So, welcome to Gardening Plus with Joy and Healy. I'm Healy,
I'm Joy.
and we are two coast to coast gardeners sharing our beyond the basics experiences, intermediate knowledge, and advanced antics. Watch the scrolling messages for important information and feel free to exchange ideas, tips, and tricks with each other in the chat. Type in all caps to get our attention, and then lowercase is fine if you're talking amongst yourself. Please remember to like, hype, subscribe, and share. And whether you're here for the live stream or the replay, enjoy the show. Ah, I'm getting it, Joy.
Hi.
I'm getting
I actually got my name in there on time. I'm like,
it.
Andy.
Yeah.
All right. How is your summer going? It's officially summer for us.
It is. Yep, it is. We are on the last day of June gloom. So we have May gray, very overcast. June gloom, continuing the overcast, but starting to warm up. And tomorrow we get straight into July fry, where it gets hot. And hot for us is 80. Like if we see 80, it's turn on the air conditioners, like we eating snowballs and ices. I think they call it shave ice here. Oh no, maybe
Okay.
that's Hawaii. I don't know. But anyway, we're doing everything we can to cool down. And that just plays right into our topic today. Today we are talking about protecting gardens in the summer heat. So, but
That's
before we
right.
get into that, Joy, what you got going on?
Yeah, definitely. Summer is kicking our butts over here. And
Mm,
it's been up and down still because there have been some chillier, not chilly, but cooler nights and warm days. But it's been nice. It's been really nice. But yes, that
mhm,
July Fry statement is coming on for us real strong this week. We are
mhm.
definitely in the 80s, not kidding. 80s, and then tomorrow 90s, and then Thursday 100 plus. Yay! So there's no like nice, even, steady weather like you seem to have.
Mhm.
We are whoosh. Then I think we're
Well,
gonna get some
you
rain after that. So let's hope that
Oh,
that
and rain. And rain.
yeah.
Okay.
I can't complain too much, but I'll still complain anyway.
Not too yeah, not too much, but a
Right.
little bit. So we have in the chat I saw Play is here, and Play says, "Hello, I just put shade cloth up for my tomatoes and cukes in preparation for the heat wave." Oh, and I think Play is in New York.
Yeah.
They're expecting to get 90 to 100-degree temps. Yep, just like what you just said. Just what you said. And then here we have Mystery Man says hello, Healy Rat and Joy ITM. How you doing,
Who's
Mystery
Mystery
Man?
Man?
All
I'll
right.
have to look into that.
And then we also have Unique's
Unique.
Garden. Howdy,
Hi.
y'all. I'm new and listening while working. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
We appreciate
Welcome.
you for being here. hmm
All right.
So you want to do your okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am Joy. I'm in upstate New well, up mid-state New York, I'll say. Considered hardiness zone 6B with last frost date about mid-May, first frost date about mid-October. I do all kinds of gardening styles in ground, raised beds, containers, indoors, outdoors. And I also have a flock of chickens, 14 at the moment, and which 12 are hens and 2 are roosters. Oh, I just had a thing the other day because I'm trying to acclimate them back outside so they can have some outside time. And then the dog is about to be an adult. It's still a puppy at the moment. So at 2 years old, it's supposed to, become an adult. And so I'm starting to try to integrate them both. And so I did like the very last few minutes of the day let them out, forage a little bit, and the dog was at arm's length, and she was pretty good. All she cared about was getting into the chicken run and stealing their bones that I throw in there, which is a terrible idea for her to get one of those, but I'd rather her get that than the chickens. So that was going all well and good. And then, everybody has gone in to the chicken house. It's sleepy time. And I closed it thinking that was everybody because it's hard to count them when they're in there. And I missed one. So now this stupid chicken is running around in circles, won't go in the stinking door. Like no matter what I do, it's like up on the roost, which is really high. So I couldn't just and it's not used to me. I don't like coddle my chickens. So they're not just going to come if I shake some treats. And then if I did that, then the other chickens would come out. And then that would be just a mess. So I'm like trying everything to get this chicken in. Finally, it goes back up after I've circled, and it's a jungle back there. There's a point in the summer where we don't do anything to the woods. We just let it grow wild. And it's been fine until I need to get into the woods. So after circling it for so long, I was like, I'm done. The chicken's back on the roof again instead of going in. And I'm just like, nope, you're sleeping up there tonight. I hope you're alive the next day. Luckily, it was alive the next day. So that's all well. But it still wouldn't go in, even though I left the door open for just the chicken to go in and the others are safe. But somehow it ended up in the net of the ceiling system and it got trapped. So then I was trying to undo the netting, which was a whole other headache in itself, to get it just to fall back into the run. But instead, it decides to fly, blah, 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 into another area of netting system, which wasn't as well secured. So it just fell through. So I was like, oh, finally. I can't do anything right with these chickens sometimes. They are such a headache to me. I try to be nice to them, and all they do is give me headaches.
But are you getting one egg per hen every day or about that? Or is the temperature affecting
I think
how many eggs you're getting? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I get the breeds I have is an every other dayer. So I get consistently I get 7. So some are laying daily and some are definitely every other day or whatever. But yeah, they're every time there's a heat spike, then I only maybe get 4 eggs or 5 just for a couple of days, and then it goes back up. There was one day where I had 12. I'm like, everybody laid on the same day? That's so bizarre. Mm-hmm. That was just one time. I was like, whoa. I was hoping it was more. But at the same time, it's no, that's too much. Calm down. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I consistently get about 7 eggs, which is just perfect, enough to give away, enough to, if we had a party, I had to make a cake or something, then I have extra, as opposed to just the regular breakfast we always have. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a little much still for us, but I'd rather more than less, because then when they stop laying, then at least I have a little bit of a glut to tide me over in the winter. Whereas if, I only had a few chickens, then I would have nothing very quickly. And I haven't gotten into the egg glassing where you put it into lime water in a jar.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that my chickens are messy, and yeah, because you need pristine eggs to do that method with. And I am looking into the just drying, just taking scrambling it and then drying it. Not a freeze dryer, just dehydrate. That's it. Dehydrating it, and then it's a powder, and you just save it that way. And it's for cooking and whatever, as opposed to. But that's at least something that can tide you over for most times of the winter, if not more. So I like that idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was the end of my bit? Oh, rain. We are definitely still in a deficit, but we get sprinkles here and there, which is good. At least that keeps me watering once a week versus 2 or 3 times a week. But during this time with the heat waves, and I don't know how bad the summer is going to be, it's going to be something. I don't know. How about you there?
Yeah, it seems like it's already, getting warm. Or I don't know. To me, last winter was warmer than normal. Mm-hmm. And it seems like this summer is going to be hotter than normal. So Mystery Man says, just started new cucumber starts for a second crop. Baby chicks are just about ready to join Scotty and Hatch outside. Hatch is not laying due to the heat. Mm-hmm. So again, that heat I think Mystery Man is in Louisiana also.
Ah.
So that you have southern, like the heat and the humidity in the south, and then you have heat in the northeast. So not too much humidity, just drier heat in your
Yeah.
area, Joy.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
either way, I think the heat, whether it's moist heat or dry heat, if it's too hot, then it affects how
Hmm.
the chickens lay, or if they lay,
At all. Right.
at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then Unique says, I wish I could have chickens. I rent
Hmm.
and it's in the lease that I can't have livestock. See, and that's the same thing. Well, and see, I'm in the HOA and we can't have chickens.
Right.
Now, a lot of people say, well, just get quails. You could keep them inside. They're
Yeah,
quiet,
that's what I'm not
and stuff
quite.
like that. If you have a dedicated space for them. I don't have that though. I don't have a dedicated space. So,
You
I
got
can't do
those
that either.
brutal sisters of yours,
But yeah.
brother and sister.
I yeah, you know what? That's right. I know, right? And the cats. Wow. You know what? You're right. Because I might have quails for like one day and then I won't. And I will have spent my money,
Feeding the cats.
yeah. So I am in Southern California. I'm in zone 10B/11A. And as I mentioned earlier, we're through the May gray, we're through the June gloom. One day before the July fry, but it is already starting to warm up. We had 2 consecutive heat waves in March
Mm.
in my area, which is not, that's not common or normal for us at all.
Mm.
But our temperatures are fairly mild year round. So that means year round gardening in my area. I had some pictures that I was going to show of the 2 main raised beds in my garden, but um they're not current. They're
Mm.
what I was going to show you, the growth is double that. So in one of the raised beds, y'all, I have two corn stalks, two. One of them is probably about maybe 4 or 5 feet high. I need to take the cover off,
Oh,
because
okay.
if you watch my videos, I have that white cover on the raised beds, and that's to protect from the bugs and and all of
Mm.
that kind of stuff. But the corn has reached a height where I really need to take that off. I have golden beets, Detroit red beets. I have some carrots, and I think I have like a cabbage growing in there. Y'all, the leaves are so big growing around. I don't remember everything that's in there. I have to look at my sheet for that. And then in the other raised bed, I put 2 of the Japanese cucumbers that I got from, that was Tractor Supply. When I did they had a flash sale, and I had 3 of the Japanese cucumbers in Aunt Jerry's raised bed here by my window. They are not doing so well. I think
Mm.
it's because the hollyhocks and everything it was too shady. They weren't getting enough sun. So
Mhm.
y'all, I have cut down like 90% of the hollyhocks and that whole
Oh,
edible flower area. Yeah, I've cut that down. I need to let the sunlight in
right.
that side of the raised bed. Um, because the cucumbers only have the opportunity for the morning sun. By the time it goes over the house and to the other side, it's very minimal sun that they get in the afternoon. So they need that morning sun. So yeah, I cut down most of the hollyhocks, and y'all, half of that stuff is all edible flower mix, but I didn't know what that stuff was. And it was just there basically for the bees and pollinators and stuff, but it's affecting my food. So y'all, look,
Right. You
y'all already
first.
know. Um, yeah, and then in the other raised bed, I have 2 Japanese cucumbers. So I had 5 plants all. I put 3 in Aunt Jerry's raised bed. One of them didn't make it. The other 2 look like, I don't know. But the 2 that I have in the covered raised bed, that's a 2x8 raised bed, and they cover at least half of the whole. And I mean, from the top of the cover to the bottom and the whole thing there, the leaves are coming down under. They're pushing out the cover
Mhm.
and coming down under. So I need to take that cover off as well. I have been eating my Tiny Tim tomatoes. I'm just about to pull
Nice.
that up. That is, I think, over a year. And so it's time to pull that up. I've been eating those. That's my snack when I'm working out in the garden. So and then other than that, just the trees, the banana plants are getting better because bananas are not trees, they're plants.
Yep.
So they are steadily growing. The dragon fruit need to be trimmed horrendously. I actually purchased the VEGO garden dragon fruit trellis on wheels. I have two of those. I need to put them together and get that straight. But yeah, it's like a lot of stuff going on, but not a lot of stuff.
Right.
Y'all, y'all garden, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So that's what I got going on. Oh, Unique is in Tennessee, Kentucky border 7B. Okay. All right. All right. So as I mentioned, today's topic, and let me get that back up here so we can see. So we're going to be talking about protecting home gardens in the summer heat. And if you have ideas and tips and tricks and recommendations, put them in the chat for all of us to see. I know Play already said about the shade cloth, and that is one of the things that we're going to talk about. But put in the chat what you do to protect your garden from the summer heat, and as we go through the topic, we'll see what comes up and what doesn't. But before we do that, just very quickly, because I know we kind of long in the tooth in the beginning, but let's talk about what we've been doing over the past 2 weeks. We kind of already, hit that, and then what we're direct sowing and transplanting and harvesting. And I'm gonna turn it over to you, Joy.
All right. Since the last live stream, I've kind of taken it like a little bit easier than usual. I've, had most everything out. So whatever few, I had like a dozen maybe transplants left to go out. I got that out. The watering, weeding, harvesting a little bit. And what else? Yeah, and just enjoying it. Just getting to sit down and just taking in the breezes, listening to the birds. I've just and I've thought of it too. I've mentally said, all right, you have a rest period here. Take it. Because normally I do not. I find something else to do for sure. But I'm psyching myself up basically for the marathon at the end here of really being serious with fall gardening, really being more serious with my harvesting when the fall summer harvest starts coming in, and yeah, trying to just enjoy the little harvest that I'm getting right now, like berries here and there if the birds don't get them first, or even the dog's eating my raspberries. I'm so annoyed. And
no!
Yeah, and certain plants that I just watch them grow and grow and grow, and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. I don't want to pick that and eat it. I just want to watch it grow. So I've started, being more focused on, okay, what am I going to do with that plant right now? And not mass harvesting. Yeah. Just I need a meal right now. Just take one or two things and incorporate them into the meals. Not, I'm going to get all this now. I don't know what to do with them because there's so much of it. I'm just going to put it in the back of the fridge. And then 2 months later, oh, it's lost because I didn't touch it. So I'm trying not to be that person. Yeah, I think, yeah, because I'm holding off for the main events of July and hopefully making it through the heat of August. Let me see. Did you want to go into what we're planting, blah, 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 right now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, because I already talked about since the last live stream and all of that. I did all of that. So yeah, let's just go into that. And I know coming up on July, so I'm interested to hear if you are still starting anything or what, but I want to hear it. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Not so much right this first 2 weeks. I'm going to let this first 2 weeks slide by, but definitely mid-July, I'm going to start the fall gardening, which is, if I want, what is it? Fall/winter harvest, you have to start it in the middle of summer. Now, for me, I'll have to do it start them indoors because it's too hot outside for, brassicas. Just certain those plants that you see start temperature of germination 55 degrees. It's nowhere near 55 degrees. They're not going to come up out in 70, 80 degrees outside, sitting in the little soil, whatever things. So I have to start those inside. But once they're up, they're going out in the shade. I'm not going to baby them, for weeks at a time indoors. They're going straight out into a protected space until they're in the soil, which is about maybe mid-August. We'll see how it goes. You can still sow flowers. Zinnias is the only thing that comes to mind right now. Zinnias, cosmos. You can still direct sow those. Those are summer flowers. They don't take that long from start to finish. Scabiosa. I like scabiosa. That's a pretty flower too. Cucumber. I had to resow, and you can resow cucumbers continuously for a while because the transplants that I kept putting out were failing on me. Either it was too cold or a bug got it. I think there might still be time for okra. I know okra can go into into October for me, just before the frost. Corn, there's still time for corn. Limited window, but you can still get some corn in. What else? And then the little things, like if you have shade, basil, lettuce. I restarted lettuce and what is it? Radish. Because those are like things I could put in the patio in the shade and they'll just grow a little bit. And it'll just be something, little treat. Not trying to get like big, wonderful plants here. And then what can I harvest? I'm actually like digging around and getting little potatoes, not curing them or anything. Just like, I need a potato right now. So I'm going to just pick a few here and there. So I've been grabbing a couple of potatoes. You might still have some broccoli, like little offshoots of broccoli. If you already harvested the main head. You can harvest your onions early. You can even harvest your garlic early. It's for me, for some people, they've already done their garlic. For me, I still have like another week. They look perfectly healthy. They haven't started. I mean, a little bit of yellowing, but not as much as they need to be for me to really harvest them. But you can harvest them early and use them now. The flavor might not be as strong, but still garlic. Kohlrabi. I've been harvesting kohlrabi. Oh, I just harvested kohlrabi. And
did you know what?
That picture?
That picture? Yeah.
So I harvested kohlrabi and I made that into a salad because I heard you could, and it's good. It's delicious. What else? And then you got fennel there. You got lettuce. I got a nice onion, and then my carrots and beets are not ready. They're still pretty puny, which really frustrates me when I see, people in other places, like at this time, they have these beautiful heads of things. And I really wait a long time, to harvest certain things like beets and carrots. So what? Yeah.
The carrots can be deceiving though, because you see all of this lush greenery. Yeah. I mean, 2 feet tall, just you see, and it's like I have all of this above ground, so that means the carrot must be humongous. And you pull it out, and that's not. And
I haven't been like one of those give them all the nitrogen. I've learned my lesson there, so I don't know. I just gotta wait it out.
Yeah. And I forgot this the picture of so this is Joy's garlic.
So this was like last year's harvest, just to show you what it looks like. Oh, because I have to go into harvest garlic. Right. My my mini topic is what to follow garlic up with after you've harvested it. So I plan to obviously put the fall garden in, or it's debatable whether I can. This is the first year I planted garlic in this space. So technically I can plant another again and I might not suffer any problems. But if I don't, but I still want to cover the soil, get something in there. Cover crops ideas are, my favorite is buckwheat because it's fast growing. It's a beautiful flower. And the bees love it. Now, some people don't like buckwheat honey. I practically love. It's a dark honey. It's very rich. I love that. It's very expensive to buy. I don't have honeybees. If I did, the whole world would be buckwheat. But buckwheat is the favorite. Chia is, like the chia. that plant, it's fast growing. It'll have a nice mat on your bed, and it's a great ground cover for that purpose. What was I going to say? Where'd my list go? Seriously. Did you move it?
No, it's I see it.
I didn't highlight it. Alfalfa is very popular. Alfalfa is a great ground cover. It's a great nitrogen source for your soil once you take it down. They sell that in pellets. They feed it to horses. You can get it at the feed store if you want and just sprinkle it. It's a great food source anytime. But if you can grow it yourself, even better. And cheap seeds are cheap. Also, any, microgreens. We eat microgreens. But if you have extra seeds, old seeds, or, you got one too many seeds from this, that, and the other, sprinkle it in, chaos sow, as they say, and see what comes up. And you can harvest it, or you can just let it be a ground cover, and then it easily terminates when you need that bed back. And now you're putting fertility back into that soil, and it'll be good to go for your next transplant come October, November. So there you go. That's my input on what to follow garlic up with. Back to the main topic.
Yeah. If anybody in the chat has, what do you follow? So like you have your summer garden in, right now you're harvesting things. Like, what do you have in the ground now? And then what are you following that with? Do you have a technique, or do you have, something specific? Like, you plant potatoes, and then after the potatoes, you always, sow so and so, or you have your carrots and your beets and your root vegetables, and after that, you always sow, whatever on the whatever. Just let us know that in the chat while I just quickly go over. So for my zone 10-11 for direct sowing now, it's all about all of the warm, the warm things. So cucumber, zucchini, yellow crookneck squash, the patty squashes, the round squashes, like some people call them, like the 8-ball zucchini or 8-ball squash, those things. And carrots and beets. So some people say, oh, well, it's hot, it's the heat of the summer, you can't do root vegetables because it's too hot. But if you think about it, with the root vegetables growing underground, the soil under the surface is cooler than the surface soil and then the air temperature. So depending on where you are and, your conditions, we're going to talk about that in a minute. It is still possible for carrots and beets or the root crops, especially radishes, because they only take 30 to 60 days, whatever. So that's possible. Pull and bush beans, hot, sweet, and bell peppers, Swiss chard. And then Joy talked about some of the flowers. So the warm flowers, or heat loving or heat tolerant flowers, zinnia, cosmos, sunflower, marigold, nasturtium, calendula, borage, bachelor's button, and sweet alyssum. So that's if you're trying to add flowers to the garden and you think it's too late, there are some warm season flowers, and you can sow those seeds, or if you already have the seeds sown, you can put them out in the garden. Just know your area. And then I wanted to also spotlight, Joy talked about lettuces, and there are some heat resistant or heat tolerant lettuces. Not all lettuces have to only be grown in the cool season. You can get you can grow some lettuces in the summer or the warm temperatures. Now you might not get the largest size lettuce, but you can still grow them up enough, to make a good salad. And some of the specific varieties are black-seeded Simpson, New Red Fire, Red Sails, Great Lakes 118, Nevada, Little Jim, Paris Island Caz, Rouge d'Hiver, Jericho, Marvel of Four Seasons, and the Salad Bowl blend. So if you don't want to buy the lettuce from the grocery store, is looking, wilted and just raggedy or whatever, you still can grow your own lettuce. And like Joy said, a patio, a shaded area, now I wouldn't recommend sowing the seeds in, an open field with no cover, no shade. But it is
Right.
still possible to get lettuce, during these summer months. For transplanting, not really doing any of that in my area. You can, but I'm not right now. And then harvest anything that's ready. Like I said, I've been harvesting tomatoes. I actually have beets and radishes and some other stuff that I can't even see what it is because I have all these beautiful green leaves and tops. Um, so I gotta get down there and see. I'm gonna be pulling all of that stuff out, harvesting because I want to sow some more summer things right now. Let me see, y'all, because David Corey running his mouth. Let me see what is he talking about?
Oh,
He
he's
said,
talking
come on, you
to Soil Brother.
man. Now, David Corey, I started late. Y'all, I started like the middle to the end of May, because y'all time and everything. Boy, David, no, he be calling me out. But you're right though. I'm not saying you wrong. You right. But dang. And then we have Mr. Man says beets, beans, bush and pole, beans, okra, cucumber, bell pepper, potato, tomato, all growing. Some about to be replaced. Yep. And he's in Louisiana, so that's kind of what he's, growing and harvesting and stuff in his area. Oh, look. So, David said not. He said not me, so bro. Lord, look, but a hit dog on holler. Woo! I sure thought it. Y'all heard that? Be a hit dog on holler. I don't know if that's a southern thing or if that's like might be dating myself a little bit, but I mean, that's yeah. So y'all, finally, let's get into today's topic. And these are probably things that, we all know as gardeners, or at least have heard of. Some stuff we have tried, maybe some stuff we haven't tried. But we're talking about how to protect our gardens in the summer heat. Y'all, how just I can't even say the words, but you started in the spring, some even earlier. You growing everything. It looks beautiful. You've been watering, you've been protecting, you're keeping the pest pressure off, you're doing all of that. And then a heat wave comes.
Mhm.
And just one day you go outside the next morning and you look at all of your beautiful plants and your leaves and your flowers and your herbs and all of that, and it just looked like the sun was like this close to the plant. In 24 hours, y'all, just a short period of time, you can go from having a healthy a healthy garden to something that just you want to rip everything up and just start over right from scratch. So we're just going to talk about a few things that we can do to protect the garden. So the first thing that we want to do is understand our climate. Know your particular region, your state, your city, even your neighborhood. Know your seasons, know your weather, and know your heat patterns. So if you know, like every July, it's even in the name for us. We have May gray, June gloom, July fry. So if I know in July it's going to be hot around this time, like the end of June, I need to be preparing my garden for the heat. But I won't know that if I don't know my climate. You can watch the local news, the national weather forecast. They have a lot of cell phone apps, all these online sites. And the Old Farmer's Almanac, they archive weather back from 1943. So if you even want to look in your area, just like the history of the weather patterns to help you prepare for what's coming up, you can do that. But you have to understand your climate. Like that's the first thing that we're talking about today that can help you to protect your garden in the summer heat. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is knowing your garden. And this picture might not be coming up the clearest, but basically this is before you plant anything. I know for most of us, we passed that point right now, but before you plant anything, like track the sun and the shade throughout the day across your garden and growing spaces. And you need to do this, for each season, for summer, spring, winter, fall. Do it for each season. But before you plant, take that time to track, okay, where is east as it relates to your garden? We know that the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So where is your garden in relation to how the sun tracks across the sky? But then also, do you have trees or buildings or your house or a neighbor's fence, or do they have high shrubs? Like, you need to know where the sun and the shade are throughout the day, and that'll help you to plant. Okay, I have sun loving plants, I'm gonna plant that in the area where I have mostly sun throughout the whole day or most of the day. I'm doing lettuce in the heat of the summer. I need to plant that or put that in a shady area. So knowing your garden, knowing the sun and the shade positions, that's very important. Joy, you have anything you want to say about that? Because you have now, my garden is it's kind of like a U shape across my backyard,
Mhm.
but um the east, so my backyard is on the east side of my house, and then up and over, and then the sun sets on the west of the front yard, where I don't have anything growing, y'all, except my blueberries. Y'all, I don't forgot about them things. I started out with
Oh,
5, y'all. Now I have 2 left. I did eat my first pink lemonade
nice.
blueberries, and y'all, they taste like candy. They taste like jelly beans,
Ooh,
like Jelly Belly jelly beans. It's good. It's
nice.
it's good. It's good. Thank you so much, Unique. I really appreciate that. We try to share like fun topics and fun information, but we try to get like a little in depth. I'm gonna start wearing glasses and stuff, my little sciencey, and put my little science coat on, because this
Oh
is
yeah.
gardening plus, right? So we try to do a little bit in depth, put a little bit, extra information. So we talked about that, the shade. But Joy, I was asking you,
Hmm.
like, how does your garden or your house, like, have you considered that, like, where the sun and the shade is, to
Yeah.
where you grow? Okay, I'm gonna grow this here, I'm gonna grow this here because of how the sun tracks across my garden.
I think it's knowledge that I've had like in the back of my head from, for so long that I didn't even really consciously think about it when I was resetting or setting this particular garden space. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like certain areas, I definitely know that this tree is going to block it from, from this hours. And then at the back end, it's going to get direct sun. And then let's say my tomatoes and peppers, they're going to get mostly morning heat. And then it's going to be dappled for the most hot part of the day, which kind of lucked out on actually.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of luck. Um, just the constraints of the property, because I can't just willy nilly just put a field of vegetables everywhere. So I kind
Mm-hmm.
of was like, all right, this spot looks good. What can I put here? And then at some point I was like, I looked up and I'm like, okay, there's the sun, there's the shade. I think it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. So I'd like to say I really like, studied the map of the sun and researched it all. But at the end of the day, it's just like, there's good piece of ground. Will plants grow here? Let's dig.
Put less bit, yeah. And I think it also, depending on if you are planting in ground, so you can't move that, you're planting in the ground, or if you're planting above ground in like mobile areas. So I mean, I have some mobile containers.
Mhm.
Everything I have is above ground except for the 3 fruit trees, but those raised beds, I don't have wheels under there, so we're not
No.
moving them around. So then I have to, for the things that are permanent growing spaces, I take additional actions, to help protect them across the seasons. But for the things that are mobile, if it gets too hot or it's too much
Mhm.
shade, I can pick those up and move them, to a better location.
Yeah.
The next thing that we want to talk about is water. Now, this is debatable, and I want to hear what y'all have to say in the chat. I'm gonna share with you what's in the article, and this information today comes from articles from the Epic Gardening website. We will have the references listed in the description after the video uploads and all of that kind of stuff. But what they say here is water early in the morning before the sun raises the temperatures and dries out the soil and plant parts. This helps the plants have access to water throughout the day. So if you water in the morning, then the plants will have the water throughout the day into the evening.
Mhm.
Now, if you can't water in the morning, then water in the later evening if you can't water in the morning.
Right.
So this will help the plant to still have the water, but it has gone through the whole day, not being watered. So it still had to, bear the brunt of the heat and the dryness and all of that without the water. But then you're watering in the evening, and hopefully overnight the plants are able to recuperate. Now, when you do water in the evening, try not to water the stems and the leaves, water the soil. And if you look at the picture here, you see like the water is going onto the soil. It's not necessarily going on to the plants or the leaves. I tried to find like a better picture, because if you look on the left hand side, I believe that is water drops on them leaves. Y'all look, screech over from that. That's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you in the middle of the picture where the water is going on to the soil. Because if you water the leaves and stuff and then you go overnight, that's just prime environment for pathogens and
Yeah.
just other stuff to grow and fester, overnight, where the plant is not its weakest. But plants collect the nutrition and stuff during the day, but they actually grow overnight. That's why when you'll look at let's just take a carrot top, you'll look at a carrot top or a cucumber or something like that. You'll look at them one day and you go to sleep and you look at them the next day and they look like they doubled in size, or like they time and a half, in size. It's because they actually grow overnight. They don't grow in the daytime. That was something I learned like a while back, but I was like, dang, that's that makes sense. That makes sense. So in extreme heat or during heat waves, water deeply 1 to 2 days beforehand when it's cooler, and this will allow more water to absorb into the soil instead of evaporating off the top of the soil in the heat, and it'll help prepare the plants for the weather to come. But how do you know that? You look at your weather forecast and and all of that kind of stuff. And then Play Journal says being consistent is fine, but I think you really need to use common sense. If your plants are burning midday, water them. Now, that is an argument to be had. If you can't water in the morning, and if you home and you see it's the heat of the day and you can water during the day, water during the day. I would say just, try to water the soil more so and not the plants. But I'm thinking if you get up in the morning and you miss it because you're running late for work, if you at work, you gone all day and then you don't come home until the evening. So then the only other time you have is in the evening. But if you home or you come home on your lunch break or whatever, and you see that it's a bazillion degrees outside and everything in your garden is wilting, definitely, please. Yeah, look, don't wait until the evening, like water right then. Just try to water the soil and not the plants. Now, if you have an irrigation drip system, like that can work. That can work well. And then you can adjust the irrigation. So if like extra hot water hot water. Yes, indeed. Hot temperatures are coming. You can adjust your irrigation maybe to release more water or the same water, but water more often, like before that heat wave arrives.
Right.
If you
And
are watering with a hose, like what
oh
I
yeah.
do, when you first turn the hose on,
Mhm.
let the
Yeah.
water run out for like a minute or two first, because if your hose
Yes.
has been sitting in the sunlight all day, like that water is hot.
Hot.
The water is going to be hot, and you do not want to water even the soil, but you definitely don't want to water the leaves or the plants themselves with that boiling hot water,
Yep.
because that's not going to That's not going to help you either. That can do more harm than good. So let the water run just for a few minutes until you feel it's cool. Then go ahead, and water your garden. Now, Unique says I also use oils and make sure that the plants have access to water. That's a good idea too. I have oils in my raised beds as well. I have DIY oils, but you can also purchase. You can purchase oils. So that's it for water. Anything on water on your end, Joy? Anything that I missed? We have some
I'm
good
just
comments in the chat. I'm popping them up, y'all. I can't read them all, but I am like popping them up so we can see, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure that what you say is being seen.
right. No, yeah, water. Drooping is a natural, uh, thing that plants do. So not necessarily that they're underwater unless you're that bad a gardener. But check your soil. They might not need water. They're just drooping because it's hot. And then they'll perk back up in the afternoon. But yeah, I mean, overwatering, if you have the right soil condition, is not the worst thing. You can't really overwater, let's say, unless it's a container. But in ground, water all you want. Just don't kill yourself being like, oh my God, they're wilting. I must water. They might be just fine.
That's true. That is true. And that is, like you said, that's a normal thing for plants to do during the daytime. They will draw the water from the leaves and bring it down to the roots, especially if the soil is not already moist or there's not enough water available to the roots. The plant will take the water from the leaves and bring them down to the roots because the roots are the things, that we need to survive so the plant doesn't die. So if you see your leaves wilting during the day, that is a normal. That's a normal thing. The next thing we want to talk about is mulch. So this is another way that we can protect our gardens in the summer heat. Garden spaces, mulch your garden spaces to help retain water and lower the soil temperature. Leave 2 to 3 inches bare around the trunk or the base of the plant. And the measurement around the plant depends on how large the plant is, but you want to leave a little space instead of bringing up the mulch right up to the stem or the root or the trunk, because that can foster crown, stem, or root rot. And we don't want to do that. We want to retain moisture and we want to keep that top layer of the soil with a lower temperature and moist, but we don't want to contribute to root rot or crown rot or stem rot or anything like that. Some examples of mulch: you can use straw, bark or wood chips, compost, shredded leaves, grass clippings. And one of the things I'm trying out this year, because I did the straw, and y'all know what happened with the straw I had. It sprouted the grass, and I had more grass than mulch. I didn't like that, y'all. But y'all know me, waste not, want not. I'm gonna use it, but I just have to stay on top of like picking out the grass. But one of my new favorites is pine shavings. That I'm using, so I don't have to worry about seeds because there's no seeds in the pine shavings. It absorbs the water well, while letting it flow through to the soil. And because I do everything in containers, it seems to be really working for me. I like it. It lasts a long time. It's not it doesn't break down super fast, so I know I can have that mulch probably across seasons. This is my first year like really actively using it. I've used it before, but this is my first time like, using it like in measure across my garden. So we'll see how long it lasts, but I like the pine shavings. Or like Joy said earlier, you can grow ground cover plants. So, especially those that are native to your area, but even if they're not native, ground cover plants can be a perfect mulch. And then when it's the end of the season or when you're ready to turn that growing area, you can do chop and drop and let that ground cover feed the soil. And I think, Joy, you mentioned that earlier in the beginning of the live stream. So, that's something that we can do. And a lot of people have like seeds or whatever, plants or whatever for ground cover already, you might not be using it as ground cover, but see, now you know that you can.
Yeah.
And let's see, the next thing we want to talk about is, and we've saw this in the chat multiple times already. This is shade. So providing shade for our plants. This will reduce the amount of direct sun reaching the plants during the hottest parts of the day or during the heat wave. So you don't just have to wait until a heat wave to use shade. You can do it just during like the heat of the day. So like maybe in March, April, May, you don't really need the shade club. But once you hit June, July, August, September, depending on, you know, where you are and your weather conditions, maybe you don't need the shade cloth in the morning, but in the heat of the day, you need the shade cloth and then you remove it in the evening. However, it works for your area. But shade cloth is something that, you know, we can use to protect our gardens in the summer heat. Now you can use shade cloth, shade sails, you can use tarps, umbrellas, old sheets, portable gazebos or tents, or if you have larger plants or trees or, you know, structures already in your garden area, you can use those for shade. So it's a lot of different things that you can use for shade. It doesn't have to be like specifically shade cloth. You might have other things around your house that you can use, but you want to make sure that you still allow some sun to come through. So depending on your situation and circumstance, I would say I've seen people use between like 20 and 40% shade cloth. Some gardeners, I have seen them use up to 50%. I believe the shade cloth that I have is, I think I have 30% and 40%. But let's just say I had 20% and I was like, oh man, I think I need a little bit more protection. Just double it over. I don't need to go to the store and buy, oh, I need 40%. I need to go buy a roll of 40%. I don't need to do that. Just take the 20%, fold it over. I mean, and it might not be exactly 40, like maybe
Yeah.
it's 30, 35, you know, but still that'll double up the protection and, you know, give me some more shade. Unique says, I use food umbrellas for my smaller plants too. Bam, I got some too from Timu, y'all.
What's a food umbrella? Is that
I
like
got my food umbrella. So like this, people use these when you're preparing food or you having food outside to
Mhm.
keep like the flies and the bugs or the
Oh, okay.
mosquitoes or whatever. Yeah, you put the little
Yeah.
umbrellas. Yes, yes, I have them. See, unique.
Nice.
Yep, we in we are in it. And then let me see. We are okay, so we at our stopping point. So these are the things that we can do. So we say understand the climate, know your garden, sunshade, use the water, mulch, and then shade cloth, shade devices, something to provide shade. So those are the things that we can do. Now there's some things that we should not do. And we'll talk about that in a second. Let's check in with Joy, and I'm gonna pop up some more of the chats. So, Joy, what do you have to say so far about the things we can do?
So you didn't go into in depth about it, but you did have weed as or weeding as one of your topics. Yes, I've been doing that as I'm weeding the garden. If it's something that's not super invasive or can just reroot itself, I just lay it back down like a chop and drop. So that keeps the soil covered. That's a good mulch as well. Yeah, I just recently also started using pine shavings as mulch. I feel like because of a lighter color that it is, it will, you know, bounce off the sun versus or the heat versus absorbing it with some maybe darker mulches. Also, yeah, I'm not sure how long it'll last in my climate as far as retaining it from season to season. But I do know it is, if I was buying straw versus, or I have bought straw. I used to use straw for the chicken run as well. Now the pine chips, and I'm like, the pine chips are so much cheaper. Why haven't I been using this whole time? Well, I know why, because I've been told all this time that it's, you know, it's got more particulates that might irritate chicken systems. So that's why I've kind of not used it as much. But I'm doing 50-50, and I use like leaves here and there. And I do have leaves too. I don't know why I'm using them mostly for the mold. So I sometimes forget that the leaves are there, and I could use it. But I do also have leaves that I can use as mulch, and I collect those all through the fall. But yeah, I like those for protecting the soil. All right, we got Precious Sunshine. Hi, and Shawnee Grows. Hi.
That's right. How y'all doing? So we are going to quickly go through some things to avoid, or at least hold off during summer heat, that can help protect our home gardens. Because Joy mentioned this earlier. She said, sometimes just leave the plants alone. Sometimes we do too much. As soon as we see a change in a plant, no matter what the change is, we feel like we have to do something. And that's not always the case. So here's some things that we don't want to do. So the first thing, don't fertilize. Fertilizers cause plants to grow faster, which requires more water that can cause them to dry out even more. Wait until the heat spell passes, then resumes the fertilizing schedule. So let's just say, like for me, I try to do the first of the month, and then somewhere in the middle, like I don't know, the 14th to the 18th of the month, I try to fertilize. Well, if tomorrow is in my weather forecast that I'm gonna have a heat wave or extra warm temps or whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna hold off on the fertilizing, because I don't want the plants to be in a state of where they get like that extra boost, because I use liquid fertilizers, which have a more direct impact. The plants are able to absorb them like almost immediately. And I also use granular fertilizers, but I don't want to give my plants fertilizer during the heat, because they're gonna grow faster. They're gonna input that, and they're gonna start those processes of growth and development and making leaves and having the fruit grow bigger and all that. But that requires more water. So if it's already a heat wave and then water is scarce, and then I'm gonna put fertilizer on it, which is gonna require more water, I could potentially kill the plant, especially if it's still small, if it's still young. If it's an older plant, it might be able to endure that, but let's hold off on the fertilizers. The heat waves usually only last a few days. It's not going to be anything to completely interrupt my fertilizing schedule. So let's hold off on fertilizing. The next thing we don't want to do is don't spray pesticides during summer heat or heat wave. There are other things that we can do. Like if you have pests and you just have to get rid of them like that day, like that moment, you can't wait. You can do like manual extraction, like picking them off, smushing them off, whatever you can. And I mean, I don't, this might only be during the very early morning or late in the evening. You can spray water to try to get them off. And I'm specifically thinking about aphids and, stuff like that, where a jet spray of water will, get them off. But with pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, those chemicals are usually sprayed directly on the leaves and the stems. A lot of them are contact products, so it has to be sprayed on the place where the bug is, and they normally on the leaves and the stems. Well, you spray the pesticide, fungicide, insecticide on there, the chemicals in that product, along with the intense heat, that can burn your plants. So now, instead of just waiting a day or two, even 3 days, trying something different, you sprayed the pesticide on there, and now you have severely weakened, damaged, or even killed the plant. So try a different method until the heat wave passes, but please hold off on spraying pesticides. And then the last thing we want to try not to do is don't prune. Try not to prune during a heat wave. So plants may wilt during heat waves, but don't prune them. Joy said that, sometime, sorry, I know what time it is. Try not to prune them. Pruning actually stimulates growth. And just like we said with the fertilizers, you're stimulating growth. Is already, a heat wave. The soil might already not be, moist enough or have enough water in it. So you're pruning, you stimulating growth. It also activates the hormone to heal the wound where you pruned. That also can add up and stress out the plant. So now it's hot. You done cut the plant. It's stressed out. Is trying to grow, is trying to heal a wound. That's too much, y'all. That's too much. Just wait until the heat spell has passed. Wait until the end of the season, or if you can, wait until the dormant area. So let's see what place says. So these are the three things that we want to try to hold off from. So don't fertilize, don't spray pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, and then don't prune. Just wait. It's not like a don't do it ever. It's not a no, it's a not now. Just wait like a few ways. Oh, those lizards, y'all. Look. You know what though? We have those lizards, but they are not doing all what they supposed to be doing. I don't, they need to, I don't know if I need to increase their pay. I don't know if I'm crawling around, everywhere. But you know what though? Y'all, and I don't even want to say it out loud because I know as soon as I say it, it's going, but I'm gonna say it for the live stream. I have not seen a tomato hornworm yet.
Okay.
And it's June the 30th. Usually by this time, I see them. Usually by this time I see them. And I have not seen one. And if y'all know my garden, those 2 kitty raised beds are full of tomato plants. I have my tiny Tim and another tomato growing here in my 5-gallon buckets. But all of those tomatoes, I have not seen one tomato hornworm. Now I've seen aphids. And I finally mixed up my my little DIY pesticide thing for the ants. So basically it's 1 cup of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of boric acid, like pure boric acid, and then enough water just to make it just to kind of make it syrupy liquidy, kind of. And I put them in a little container, like the condiment containers with the lid. I put holes on the side of the containers, not on the top. I have the top completely closed because I don't want honeybees or beneficials to get in there. So just tiny holes, just big enough for the ants to go through. Still in the experimental stages. I just put them out maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. So we'll see what happens with that.
That sounds smart.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I know. I was I just released a video of me fertilizing a couple of days ago. So when I saw your notes yesterday, I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
We'll see. We'll see. We're gonna see how it
Hopefully
goes.
I diluted it enough so it won't be too problematic. And I only did half the garden, so the other half is safe.
It's safe. All right, y'all. So that was today's topic. So protecting home gardens in the summer heat. We hope that we have given you some ideas, some tips, tricks, some recommendations. Like the comment section was hot. Like we had all kind of like recommendations, suggestions, stuff that we all have been doing. Like if you see something that you haven't tried and you want to give it a shot, hey, go ahead, give it a shot. Just try it. Maybe you want to try it in a small area of your garden, try it on like 1 plant, or say you have 5, I don't know, tomato plants, you can try something on 1 tomato plant. If you only have the 1 tomato plant, maybe you can try something on like the 1 leaf or something. I don't know, before you don't want to just the first time you try something, just put it out everywhere, because y'all, if it don't work, like then what?
Right.
So as a reminder, the Gardening Plus podcast is normally live streamed on 2-week intervals, and it alternates between my channel and Joy's channel. So this week it's on my channel. In 2 weeks, it should be on Joy's channel, but sometimes we switch it up. So make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. We're both here on YouTube. Joy is also on some other platforms. She'll tell you about that in a second. But make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. My channel is multi-topic. It actually started out as a natural hair channel. And y'all, speaking of that, I was trying to record some natural hair content like before this live stream. Y'all, it ain't work out. So now you seeing how my hair look when stuff don't work out. But it started out as that, y'all, but it expanded. So I do product reviews, shopping hauls, and unboxings. I haven't done as much on my electric vehicle. I have a Tesla Model S. I still owe that video on the new wrap. I'm gonna do that. But if you like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some of these, some of those, check out my channel.
All right. Let's see. Like I said, don't forget to watch that video that just dropped like a few minutes ago. My content focuses mainly on vlogging of the garden. And here and there, I put in some cooking, some unboxing, some trips. It's been a quiet season though. So I also have a series here on Gardening Plus on resilience in the garden. So once in a while, we bring on a guest who's used the garden to help them through something in their life that they've had difficulties with. And then, let's see. Yeah. And if you have a story to tell, hit me up. It's in the description. I can be found here, Instagram, Rumble. I have a Facebook group that I'm trying to, cultivate. And I think that's all of it. All right.
So we hope that you enjoyed today's live stream, that it was informative, thought-provoking, and most of all, fun. If you were here for any part of the live stream or the replay, we thank you and we appreciate you. Remember to like, hype, subscribe, and share.
All right. I will talk to y'all soon. So I'll harvest more.
And until next time, be safe, be well, and be blessed.